Coming up on Paris on Politics, comedian Matt Friend takes Paris on a whirlwind tour of his impressions.
Mr. Matt Friend, always a pleasure seeing you. You do me so rhythmically, so musically.
And reveals what it's like to impersonate Obama in front of Obama.
This is an impression not just for red states or blue states, but this is a voice for these United States.
And a Chicago paleontologist travels to the ends of the earth to better understand our planet.
Working in these regions changes the way you see the world.
This week, let's take a breather from political talk on this Best of Paris on Politics.
Pick almost any celebrity or politician, and Matt Friend has an uncanny impersonation of them. Oftentimes, he does it right to their face. He started making videos on Instagram and is now working events like the Oscars, Golden Globes, and White House Correspondents' Dinner. And now he's one of the hottest comedians in America, both physically and in other ways. And he's playing Saturday night at the Park West in his hometown of Chicago. Take a look at some of his greatest hits.
Paul Giamatti is not only one of my heroes, but I am doing you to you right now. What do you think about that? That's very good. That's very good. Very good.
This is an impression not just for red states or blue states, but this is a voice for these United States, because together we believe in that creed that says, I am my brother's keeper.
And finally, new rule, I have a brand new book. You know what I mean? Right?
Does that really sound like me?
Oh, Bill, you're warming up to it. You hear it, right?
I don't hear it.
You don't?
I don't.
Say the following word. Ready? Wrong.
Wrong.
And Matt Friend joins us now. Matt Friend, welcome home. Thanks for being here on Paris on Politics.
Thank you for having me, Paris. It's great to be here.
I think that impression of Bill Maher is spot on.
Thank you. And finally, new rule. If you're going to do a show in Chicago, go on Fox.
How do these public figures react when you do these impressions right to their face?
I think it's all in the way you approach it. I come at it from a level of a lot of respect and admiration for the most part, and I approach it carefully. It all started actually when I was doing run-ins on the street. I ran into Andy Cohen and Sebastian Maniscalco and Rami Malek and Jeff Goldblum and all these people on the streets of New York, Will Arnett. It genuinely happened out of the blue. People think I'm like a TMZ paparazzi person.
How do you know where they are? How do you know where to find them?
I would go for a walk in downtown Manhattan, I swear to God. And I have these crazy run-ins.
The only person I ever met walking in Manhattan was Henry Winkler.
Okay, that's a great one.
It is.
You couldn't do an impression of him.
Can you do an impression?
I got to work on that one.
Okay, you got to work on that.
But and then now it's kind of morphed into this crazy thing. I'm doing it in my show, which is at Park West tomorrow. Almost sold out, so get your tickets, mattfriend.com. That's called a plug.
And put it over the top.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was at the Golden Globes on the red carpet, and then the Correspondents' Dinner.
And Paul Giamatti seemed to love it.
Insane, yeah.
So do they mostly play along with you? They're mostly happy to do it?
I think they're, for the most part, they're in a great mood. And
who had the most fun with you?
Goldblum is unrivaled.
Oh, those are so
I just saw him
hilarious.
again at the Globes, and he's very sensual, of course. Mr. Matt Friend, always a pleasure seeing you. You do me so rhythmically, so musically. My acting teacher, Sandy Meisner, would have been a very large fan of yours. To quote Mr. Fred Astaire, Gershwin, there may be trouble ahead. I don't know. You have some weird jazzy, old-timey reference.
Well, he's a jazz musician.
I know. He's the best.
And he brings it into his cadence.
The best. So Goldblum, having the approval of Howard Stern is pretty amazing.
Right. He loves your impression of him.
Right. It's fun to do Howard because I'm a lot younger than him, and I don't think he's ever really enjoyed one as much as he's like mine. So that's crazy. Every one of these things is surreal.
How about that meeting with Obama? How did that go?
Unbelievable. Yeah, I met him right before the DNC. That turned out well. Yeah, I got to meet him. His team reached out, and it was surreal. I met some of his people he works with around that Correspondence weekend, and they reached out. He was going to be in Chicago for the... I actually almost missed it. I almost missed my flight to come to Chicago early to meet him. And I suddenly find myself in a room with Obama, not in like a Lindsey Graham way, in a different kind of a way.
Right.
And hello, Lindsey. And then I was acting out my greatest hits, Obama's greatest hits.
Right.
Everything from That's What I Do after his jump shot to singing Amazing Grace with him. And I sang Amazing Sing grace, how sweet the sound. Like, it was insane. And he's standing right there next to me.
And he's Chicago. He's a hometown
And then I
guy.
debated him as Trump, which was next level,
Really?
too.
How'd that go?
I said, Mr. President Obama, I have a much better golf game, a much better swing. And he looked at me and said, well, how about you check out those crowd sizes? So, and then the video ended and I did McConnell, and he said he got PTSD from me doing the McConnell face.
Obama got PTSD.
Yeah, when I went like this.
I thought you meant McConnell got PTSD from whatever's going on
No,
with him
he's just,
physically.
yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. But
Yeah.
Fox audience, I'm not sure. They might say, don't make fun of him. I'm not making fun of him, everybody. And that's another thing to stress.
This is Fox Chicago,
yeah,
by the way.
it's okay.
We're right down the middle.
Whatever's happening. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, in my show, it's an interesting time for comedy. Everybody's hypersensitive, whether you voted for Kamala, for Trump. Everybody gets so angry when a comedian makes one joke about either side. And I think we all have to calm down as a society. I'm a comedian. That's what I do. And it's also funny because when I do Trump material in my show, if you think I'm making fun of him, I'm actually just repeating exactly what he says.
And you're like, that's offensive.
So,
wait, he just said that word for word?
It's actually kind of stealing material because he is a comedian in itself.
Did you watch his joint address? I was there.
I was watching on my couch with two transgender mice. Just two transgender mice, which is terrible. You know what? Honest to God, it's so hard. Should we recap it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Fox Chicago, if you missed Donald Trump's recent joint address to Congress, here's a summary. Well, I'll tell you what, everybody. It's really sad what's happening. You have men that are smashing women in the face in volleyball. The trans are putting the ball in volleyball. Let's see if they keep that one in, everybody. It's so sad what's happening. You have Vladimir Zelensky like an Oompa Loompa, just a small little guy. There's a small African-American boy who is now my Secret Service kid. He's like a Secret Service guy.
And the Democrats couldn't even cheer
It's
him.
so true. But English is the official language of this great country. The trans mice are trying to speak Spanish. And I said, the mice are going to start to speak English. And the Greenland, we're going to get it one way or another. That's the whole speech. That's all you need to know.
All right, so I got to show this.
I can do that for
clip.
4 hours. I'm sorry.
Well, you kind of did. You did this in front of President Joe Biden.
Yes.
At the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We got to play like the entire thing because it's just so amazing. All right, take a look.
Thank you.
I will tell you, it is really a tremendous opportunity to be at the most failed dinner anybody's ever seen. Great to see you losers. A lot of people say that. Hello, everybody. Why is it so quiet? What's happening? It's quieter than Sleepy Joe. Hello, Joe. How are you? Great to see you. We're going to debate, right? That's what they're saying. There's a lot of stars here. There's a lot of great people. There's Scarlett Johannesburg. Scarlett is here from Black Widow. I love the blacks. I really love the blacks. It's true. You have a lot of people that could potentially be a vice president. You have Lara Trump, who's a lot better than Ronna McDonald. Who doesn't love Ronna McDonald, right? I'm loving it. You like a Happy Meal, right? You like that? But I will tell you, this dinner, you're so tight. It's so uptight, right? This dinner is sadder than Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured President's Department, right? Look at him, the white tuxedo. He doesn't like me too much, right? But I will tell you, the Chinese apps are being banned. It's horrible. We have to post our David Peckers on Snapchat now. That's what they're saying. Let's face it, folks. I'm on fire right now like the guy outside the courthouse, right? Not soon enough. Not soon enough. But I will tell you, I am killing this dinner harder than Kristi Noem kills the puppies. Moving on, please. Even Bernie has something to say.
Mr. Trump, you have no idea what the ordinary experiences everyday Americans are. I am concerned with battling the ruthless dictators like Vladimir Putin. Can we all agree on that? Can we all agree? Even Mitch would agree with that right now. Mitch? Well, let me begin by stating what a privilege it is.
How do you think President Biden responded to it? Was it nerve-wracking to see him there on the dais?
Folks, nerve-wracking as hell.
No, Mr. President, no, the show's not over yet, sir. We're still taping. Come on back. Dr. Jill, can you get your husband back here, please? What about Mayor Johnson? Do you have a Mayor Johnson impression?
I only do impressions of people with approval ratings higher than 6%. So you have to have at least a 25% approval rating for me to do an impression of you. Sorry.
All right. President Trump, first of all, you're all over the place on tariffs.
You're going to ask me a question?
Yeah. Well, are you for tariffs?
First of all,
are you going to delay them?
Shut your mouth, first of all. What kind of a name is Paris? I mean, it's just a great place. I like Paris, but your mother could have named you like a London or something, maybe like a Normandy. But
did your parents think you were a little weird? You're up in your room and you're doing voices all day in front of the mirror?
You know, I think they helped to cultivate this love of comedy and making people laugh, and I'm lucky to have.
Your mom is very funny.
She's hysterical, and my dad is more subtle with it, but he's funny. Yeah, no, they definitely think I'm weird. I think they think it's all crazy that I'm about to sell out Park West and that I'm home and that this is all happening.
Park West show, what time is it at?
Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Tickets at mattfriend.com. My Instagram, the Matt Friend. My Truth Social, Real Donald Trump. Yeah, no, get tickets. It's about to sell out. Very, very excited. Hometown show. Thrilled to be here.
Tell me the challenges of broadening out impressions into, an hour and a half of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, no, I mean, the impressions are probably 35% of what I'll do on stage tomorrow. Those are woven in through stories about my interactions with these celebrities, meeting Andy Cohen, Jeff Goldblum, Howard Stern, Bill Maher. There's other stories, encounters that I have, and also just other observational elements to the show on things going on in our society, topical, political observations on dating in my 20s, different things like that.
To be dating in my 20s.
Right, yeah. Well, you're in your 50s, but I'm kidding. He looks fantastic. I love Paris.
Thank you.
But he looks amazing for 62. But no, truthfully, he's fantastic. He's Fox Chicago's sexiest anchor. We can all agree on that.
I think that's Anthony Ponce, but anyway.
But it's challenging. I mean, I've been working on this hour, and now I'm going to get ready to tape it. It's a special by the end of this year.
You're going to tape it? Oh,
yeah,
good.
By the end of this year, I think so.
And I got to bring up your mom. We talked about your mom because
she's the best.
She owns this amazing cookie shop.
Big fat cookie
shop. When I saw you at City Winery a year and a half ago. She sent me a big box of cookies. These are creations.
They're amazing.
Mini cakes.
I wish she was here, but she's
welcome
here.
anytime.
She's in Chicago. Yeah, we'll have to get her on at some point. But the best cookies, buy them in Chicago. Big fat cookie. They're incredible. They're so good.
All right, so you're doing a special. What about an SNL audition? Is that in your future?
You never know. Right now, I'm just focused on doing my thing and creating my show. And I guess whatever opportunities arise, I guess as the president would say, we're going to look into that. Many people are saying we're going to look into that.
Many people are saying you are the hottest comedian in America.
Oh, thank you. I'm working.
People are saying it.
It's a grind, but every day I'm just chipping away. If that happened, that'd be amazing, but we'll see.
All right, Matt Friend, again, Park West, right by where you grew up.
Yeah, right next to where I grew up. Everybody's going home with a free cameo from Rod Blagojevich, ladies and gentlemen.
You have a Rod Blagojevich impression?
I have hair. That's the distinction. That's real.
Nothing beats a Chicago sunrise. But with our busy lives, it's easy to miss. Good Day Chicago won't waste your time. We don't produce our news out of New York. We are live, local. All Chicago, all the time. Starting at 4:30. Watch or listen live, however you get ready to seize the day. Anytime, anywhere. On TV or Fox Local. Weekday mornings on Fox 32, Chicago.
We thought we'd take a break from politics to go back in time a bit. Way back, like millions of years. Our next guest has spent the last few decades digging into ice and rock to discover creatures that roamed the earth before humans. His most famous fossil discovery is Tiktaalik, or the fishy creature with little legs and arms. Now, he's just written a book called The Ends of the Earth, documenting his adventure-filled trips to the North and South Pole to forage for bones. And we welcome best-selling author and University of Chicago paleontologist Neil Shubin. Neil Shubin, great to see you. Thanks for being here. All right, so for the uninitiated, tell us who Tiktaalik is. You brought Tiktaalik's head and how you discovered them.
So when you're a paleontologist, you can bring a show and tell. This is the head of Tiktaalik rosea. So you're seeing the head, the eyes, the nostrils. Has a flat head. Looks almost like a crocodile.
Kind of like a gator type of creature.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But it's a fish. It has fins with fin webbing. It has scales in its back. If I had the rest of the body, which you can see at the Field Museum, it has scales. But when we look inside the fin, it has bones that correspond to our upper arm, forearm, even parts of our wrist. Arms inside of a fin.
So was it in the water and the land?
Both. And it's about 375 million years old. So it's just at that moment when fish began to invade land in evolution. These are our distant ancestors, these creatures like these.
Is this like the missing link?
That's what some people call it. It is a link, yeah. It's not missing anymore, though.
No, not missing anymore. We discovered it. So, and you had a book called Your Inner Fish and a series called Your Inner Fish.
That's good.
So we're very closely related to fish, aren't we?
We are. If you look at the basic architecture of our bodies, the DNA that builds our bodies, all that's found in fish. And so we as biologists and geologists can trace our history all the way back to fish, and particularly fish like Tiktaalik.
And I remember in one of your shows, you found a woman here in Chicago that had literally gills behind her ears.
Yeah, Molly. She's one of our friends, and Molly has a little gill. And we go through a stage in our development from embryo to adult where we have fish-like characteristics. And she has a mutation which led her body to keep a gill as a structure.
And basically, as I understand, we have all that fish DNA, but it's dormant in us, right? I mean,
it's modified. Yeah, it's modified. So some of it has been modified to make human bodies. Others sits not quite dormant, but sits in our genome doing other things.
All right, so let's get to the book Ends of the Earth, where you document your many, many trips to both the North and the South Pole. First of all, why are the Arctic circles the place to go to discover these creatures? Yeah,
so in my field, you go where they ain't. And so, you go to places where other people haven't looked, which are literal gold mines. So for instance, in the case like the Arctic, what you have is where you don't have ice, you have bedrock. And that bedrock can contain fossils. So to find Tiktaalik or dinosaurs or whatever else we look for, what we do is we look for the right kinds of rocks of the right age to find the fossils. And more often than not, those rocks are present in the Arctic and in some cases Antarctica.
So these are rocks that are perhaps millions of years old that were at other parts of the Earth at certain periods?
Yeah, so the continents move around, and you can see what the Arctic looks like today. And whenever you see that snow, then you see a gap in that snow, typically of rock. And these continents have moved around. So when you look at the world inside the rocks of Antarctica and the Arctic, it's usually a warm tropical world, not a frozen world like we have today. And that's because the continents have rafted about. That's because of climate change that's happened in the past, all kinds of reasons.
And we're watching you land here, because you have two jobs when you go here. You need to find fossils, but also stay alive. So how difficult is it to deal with the treacherous elements?
Yeah, I need to come home. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you're in an aircraft. You're about 300-400 miles from the nearest base. We use helicopters, and we use all kinds of other helicopters, planes, ATVs, you name it. It's pretty dicey sometimes. You're working, particularly in Antarctica, in climates that are below freezing, living in nylon tents. It's daylight 24 hours a day in the summer when we're there. That really throws you off. There are polar bears.
You get any sleep?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it takes a little adjustment to do that.
Yeah.
You have snow in
July. You're having fun there.
Oh, yeah.
How cold is it there?
There is probably, 30 degrees, something like that.
Okay, and so tell us about some of the, beyond Tiktaalik, the biggest discoveries or the biggest things that you found while you were there.
Well, one of the things that we found that was truly amazing for us was what we call the dinosaur dance floor. This is in Greenland. And I was with another graduate student, and we were hiking back. We were about to get hit by a storm. So we were about 5 miles from camp, and this is in the east coast of Greenland. And we were descending along the staircase of rocks, and I hit this platform. And this platform contained one footprint after another. And the giant three-toed footprints with claws with a dinosaur that might have been walking, 50 feet. And it was crossed by another dinosaur footprint and another dinosaur footprint. And so we thought we called it the dinosaur dance floor because
they were at a mixer just kind of dancing around having fun.
They were doing their dino thing, yeah.
That
was one of the more amazing things.
That's fascinating. You write about the otherworldly ecosystems in this book. For instance, there are lakes miles underneath the ice that are the size of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I wrote this book is that working in these regions changes the way you see the world. And what you brought up was just one way.
Right.
What scientists have discovered is when you drill 2.5 miles under the polar ice in Antarctica, there are lakes there. Lakes the size
of
freshwater lakes, some of them the size of the Great Lakes in North America, that have fresh water miles under the ice. And when scientists brought that water up and sampled that water, they found microbes.
And look, we're looking at a crevasse there. Look
That's
at
a
that
crevasse.
blue ice.
Yeah, those are terrifying because when you're walking on the ice, sometimes they can be covered by a snow bridge. And, if you don't want to fall into one of those.
No.
And we've lost researchers to that.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's a big problem. And what you see next to it is what's known as the cosmic dust sucker. The cosmic dust sucker.
The scientific name.
Yeah, that's what they colloquially, we call it that because it pulls air out from the South Pole. That sits at the South Pole. And in the air are pieces of the cosmos, dust that came from outer space. And they can sample that dust to tell us about the origins of the solar system.
Well, see, that's what I was going to get to, because there's all kinds of conspiracy theories that there's extraterrestrial life you can find deep below the ice in the Arctic circles. It's not entirely crazy notion, is it?
No, I mean, there's strange stuff in these places. You go under the ice, I told you have lakes. You have microbes under there. But in the ice also, you have meteorites that hit the Earth sometimes thousands of years ago. Some of those meteorites are pieces of Mars that broke off and landed on our planet. So we have chunks of Mars landing, and some of them are stored in Antarctica for thousands of years until scientists find them.
Okay, so it looks like you're having fun there.
This is the South Pole Station. They have a thing called the Round the World Run. It's actually only about a mile long, because they're going around at the South Pole, and they do that every year. Some people,
So you're running around the world, but it's a mile long. That's
exactly.
Fantastic.
The Round the World Run.
That's great.
It's crazy. And this is my view outside the tent. I think it was at 6 in the morning one time. I wanted to send something home to show people like what it was like one morning, and it can be really brutal.
So you're trying to sleep. Does a tent actually keep you warm?
No.
No, you're just
The
bundled
sleeping
up.
bag. That's me climbing to a fossil site. And here's the crazy thing. Can you imagine this? We're working on the tops of mountains in Antarctica and the Arctic.
Right.
It's cold. You could see that snow there, right?
Right.
The world inside there has sharks and fish and other things. It has a world formed in the sediments formed in ancient rivers and streams.
Right.
The juxtaposition between present and past could not be more different. It shows how our world is capable of enormous change.
One of the things you talk about these lakes beneath the ice and these living creatures without any sunlight. So does that give us a clue as to how there might be creatures on other planets, even if there isn't a lot of sun?
Indeed. Yeah, so what you have is under there, no energy coming from the sun. So these ecosystems that exist underneath the ice are very special because the critters are getting their energy from other critters, eating them, or from atoms or molecules that they're breaking down. And we think that if there's life on other planets, could be very similar to those sorts of ecosystems. And that's why many of the technologies, many of the scientific approaches that are used to study Antarctica are also used to think about other bodies in our solar system that may have life.
Are you going back soon?
Probably not soon. We were just there in July. We're still working on the stuff we found. It might take us another year to get back there.
Okay, we're gonna we'll keep tabs with you on what you're unearthing. I got to ask you, all of this takes money. All of this takes grant money. Sometimes you saw the president talking about freezing grant money, and there's all kinds of cuts to scientific research, health research. How is this going to impact this work? And universities like the U of Chicago, where you work.
Yeah, I mean, it's an uncertain time, no doubt about it. One of the things we are as a country, as the United States, we've been the beneficiaries of an incredibly rich scientific enterprise. It's science that's brought us new cures for diseases, new ways to understand our planet, new ways to understand ourselves, our bodies, our planet, and the solar system itself. And that happened because of public funding of science. We are the top of the game as a country. We're better than any other country for science. We stand to lose that if we don't continue our investment. And if we lose that, other countries will certainly fill that gap. And you know which countries they are.
The Sputnik moment there,
exactly.
Comes to mind. What about climate change? The current administration is kind of erasing any kind of even mention of climate science and going back to we don't want to buy electric cars and stuff. But in the polls, what are you learning about climate change and the ice melting?
Yeah, look at it this way. We can measure this stuff. We can measure using satellites. We can look at the temperature of the Arctic, for instance. And we have ground stations that measure the temperature. The Arctic is heating 4 to 7 times faster than anywhere else on the planet. And with that, we're losing ice. And as we lose that ice, that water goes into the oceans. We can map using satellites. JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is doing this. We can map how the ice is doing on a day-to-day basis. And we see it's melting. We see the melting is happening at about 270 gigatons of ice are melting into water per year, both in Greenland and in Antarctica. That's up from 40 about 20 years ago.
So it's really accelerating. Then you've got the permafrost that has massive levels of carbon dioxide.
Exactly.
And that would kind of accelerate it even further.
It's accelerating even further. So these are facts. We can actually map this stuff. There's strong evidence for all that happening. What we don't know is what it's going to look like in a century. How much will that water change sea levels? How much will that water change global weather? We have models which predict that it can change it on the order of as up to 10 feet or more in some cases. It may not be as much. We just don't know. It's hard to read the future. But the climate is changing fast, as is the ice in these polar regions.
All right, so you're on a book tour right now, and on Saturday, as I understand, you'll be in Chicago, correct?
Yes, I'll be speaking at my home bookstore, the Seminary Co-op bookstore in Hyde Park on 57th and Woodlawn. I'll be talking about the book, signing books. Come on out.
And don't you have an event in Andersonville as well at the... No, okay, it's just a Seminary Co-op.
Yep.
Okay, well, Neil Shubin, and again, the name of the book is Ends of the Earth, Journeys to the Polar Regions in Search of Life, the Cosmos, and Our Future. Congratulations on the book. Great to talk to you.
Thanks so much. Great to be here.
Thanks for joining us on this Best of Paris on Politics from Fox 32 Chicago.